There are more details coming out about the conditions that the 3 women that were held captive in Cleveland had to deal with. And as you can imagine, they were horrific conditions. These women were not only raped repeatedly, but they were tied by the neck by dog leashes. They, in some cases, had their entire faces covered with duct tape when Ariel Castro would leave the house for an extended period of time. Doctors are now saying that 2 of the women, Gina De Jesus and Michelle Knight, will have to undergo many procedures and a very long recovery because of the conditions they were living in. In fact, they're suffering from hearing loss and joint and muscle damage as a result of being held captive for nearly a decade.
This story is so beyond horrific, it's actually hard to read about. It's been hard, even when I'm watching the news, it's hard to grasp. The only thing that I can possibly compare this to from like a pop culture point of view or something is Silence of the Lambs. I mean, something which is really, the scariest movie I've ever seen. It's so horrific that it's so beyond human. It's beyond what we can expect humans to do, and yet these things exist, which is the incredible part.
So I read today that Ariel Castro is planning on pleading not guilty, which I find hilarious. And not literally hilarious, but like, really, you're gonna plead not guilty? You wrote a suicide note back in like '04 admitting to what you were doing to these women, and you're gonna plead not guilty? I'm very curious to see how that case plays out. And I have said on the show in the past, this is one of the few instances where I get tempted to change my opinion on the death penalty. I haven't changed my opinion on the death penalty. I still think it's wrong, but this guy is just disgusting. So let me read you, some of the things that he did, and it is very difficult to listen to. The basement where the women were held had chains coming from the wall and dog leashes attached to the ceiling. The women were restrained with them and duct tape in stress positions for long periods that left them with bed sores and other injuries. If he left for long periods of time, he would sometimes duct tape the women over all parts of their faces, even their eyes, only leaving an opening so they could breathe. Then he would just rip it off, pulling off skin and hair. And that's according to one of the sources who did not want to be named.
Yeah, I mean, this is just simply beyond. It goes to the just very nature of what are humans. Like, it's hard to believe that someone could be this fundamentally evil. And I agree with you on the death penalty point, because I don't believe in the death penalty. But what rehabilitation can there be for someone that did something so profoundly awful? I mean, maybe they can learn something about what was going on in his brain and neurons and synapses and that kind of thing. But to continue this person's life almost seems unthinkable.
Well, he was also a victim of abuse himself.
Of course.
His family abused him, his uncle allegedly raped him. And so, you see this a lot with people who do rape. They've had a very terrible past themselves, which is why it's so important for society to take rape seriously, to prosecute people who are accused of rape, and to also, have mental health facilities available for those who have been victims of rape.
Yeah, the other part of this is how systemic it is, how denial just reeks through everything and gets its tentacles into everything, because I saw the interview with his 2 brothers. They were going into the house for years. They said that there were portions that were closed off with drapes and padlocks, and they weren't allowed to go past the kitchen. I mean, how did they not make the logical connections that, not necessarily this, but something was not right, and they never did it. And they were questioned by the police and let free, so I guess they were okay, but
I mean, the creepiest part is the fact that neighbors thought he was this lovely guy. They're like, yeah, we played salsa music together and we had barbecues. I mean, Charles Ramsey famously said that. And, behind the scenes, this guy's one of the most hideous people you could ever imagine.